you're so fine, I can't get you off my mind. Ooh girl, nah nah. Ooh girl, nah nah. Baby girl, don't need to flex. Dance to the rhythm and you do all the rest. Ooh girl, nah nah. Ooh girl, nah nah. Sign me up with dreams, the only thing I need. When I'm down, lift me up with your company. There's no telling what you and me creating. We're on the same wavelength. Feel the beat tonight, something good inside. Set you free, let you lose all track of time. Come on, have a conversation. Don't treat me like a stranger. You give me motivation, make my life vacation. When we are together, I surrender. Give you all my money, make you look so lovely. Never feeling lonely. Baby girl, you're so fine, I can't get you off my mind. Ooh girl, nah nah. Ooh girl, nah nah. Baby girl, don't need to flex. Dance to the rhythm and you do all the rest. Ooh girl, nah nah. Ooh girl, nah nah. You're my island, tray of diamonds. Big was fake, help me find you. You're a blessing, reminiscent of the time when I found myself guessing. Feel the beat tonight, something good inside. Set you free, let you lose all track of time. Come on, have a conversation. Don't treat me like a stranger. You give me motivation, make my life vacation. When we are together, I surrender. Give you all my money, make you look so lovely. Never feeling lonely. Baby girl, you're so fine, I can't get you off my mind. Ooh girl.
Hello, welcome back to another day in a vlog. I'm not the greatest when it comes to vlogging because I'm just probably still trying to get the whole swing of things on how to go about on really vlogging and getting a whole mix of things. And especially when you work on a cruise ship, it's very different because you try to get the time, but you really don't have the time. You do have the time, but you actually don't have the time. I don't know if I'm explaining that very well, but I kind of don't have the time and I kind of do have the time. Question is first. I don't know if this is going to be very structured because when I speak, I tend to get off topic. So excuse me if I do go off topic. But how's it like being on Beyond Celebrity? It is amazing. So the most asked question is, how's it like to work on board a cruise ship? Is very tricky because some days it's amazing, some days it's not so amazing. But honestly, most days it is the most amazing experience ever. I've enjoyed working on board so much. I've enjoyed doing this for the past 4 or 5 years because I've done fourth contract. This is my fourth contract and I've honestly enjoyed doing it because it's something different. Like it's like an escape that you can have from real life. Here's another thing that people always say. It's like, so one thing that I also find that can sometimes be a little bit challenging working on board is the fact that it's very hard to have a balance because you're always on work mode, you know, like even if when you finish work and you decide you want to go out with your friend, first of all, when you come back to your cabin, you have a roommate. And your roommate is somebody that you work with. So you want to be good friends or you want to be in good terms with your roommate because that's the person that you're going to see most of your time. And that's the person you probably spend most of your time with. If you don't have a boyfriend, if you have a boyfriend, you'll probably spend more time with your boyfriend. Anyway, we're not there. So you probably are going to spend a lot of time. So that's what I'm saying. Let me go back. I'm bubbling. I just went off topic again. So again, what happens, the balance of life is very difficult when you're here because it's that sense of you're always working. So you're always surrounded with people from work versus when you're on land. When you're on land, you go to work from Monday to Friday. On the weekends, you get home, and when you get home, you can switch off. You can switch off your phone, you can switch off your laptop, you don't have to go on social media, you don't have to answer anybody's calls, depending on the type of work that you do. But you can literally just switch off and be in your own space. Here, no, that's not happening on board. On board, you finish your work, you finish, you close, you go to your cabin. If probably you didn't do your chronos, or probably, let's say the ship is rocking so much, and I'm just being dramatic, the towers, they fall off and they break, or something happens and we need people, guess what? Your cabin phone is gonna go tring, tring, tring. You're gonna get a call and you're gonna have to go and help out. So that's what I'm saying, switching off is kind of impossible. Another thing is, again, if you had a terrible day and you want to just get away, you can't necessarily get away, because if you go in the outside deck, or you go upstairs to the crew bar, or you go to the staff bar, or you go anyway, you're probably gonna find somebody from work, because everybody is here on board. So you never really have that time. But that's it. Those moments, they happen from time to time. And you gotta have to find your own way of kind of adapting, and your own way of kind of balancing and finding your own style of working. And I always say to people that, for example, I found my own way of just being able to get away and close off and be in my own space, and being able to switch off from work and being able to be in the moment. But it takes a little bit of time. But once you get there and once you capture it, it becomes a thing, and you honestly do need it. Like, also, going out in ports is something that I honestly do encourage, because it makes you switch off so much times. Because when you go out, your world can become so small when you're here on board, because your frame of reference is literally everything that's just around you, and it can become very small, and you can end up being disconnected, because we're not always like on socials, because internet is expensive. Because internet is expensive, really expensive, so you're hardly online. So basically, the people around you, they become your space, they become your frame. When you go out, the conversations that you have. So that is why it's important for you to have books that you can read, so that you can kind of escape and get away. Listen to music, go outside, go to the gym, go to the ports, go to the beach, do something different, be on land, especially if you get the time, because your world can honestly become very, very small. So yeah, that's the balance. It's pressure, because I guess I'm the kind of person who's much more dedicated into work, and I am very by the book when it comes to things. So for me, pressure wise, when it comes to work, I didn't really feel it. The standards, keeping the standards, because remember, if you are working on a ship, there's like a whole lot of standards that need to be followed. I didn't necessarily find it as strict as a lot of people had said, like other people who are my colleagues, of course, that have worked on bigger ships or newer ships, and they always tend to shy away from newer ships, because they say, oh well, there's just so much pressure because it's a new ship, and there's going to be, like, in terms of how you do things, how you dress, how you go to work. I don't know, maybe it's because I came in kind of in the middle, like 6 months later after the opening, so I didn't necessarily feel like it was very strict, or the standards had to be very high. I just felt like it's regular standards that need to be followed, or that a lot of lines would actually follow, kind of thing, you know. Yeah, a day is a week. That's what happens in a cruise. It's just like, even if you are dating, and if you are dating, it's like if you meet someone and you've known them, or you've like 3 days. For us, that's 3 weeks. Sorry. 3 weeks. Like, if it's a week, it's like, oh my god, it's a month. You guys are ready to move in together and start a life and talk a whole different life together. That's how it is. I know it sounds crazy, but that's life on board. Sounds crazy, but yes, that's pretty much what it is. That's pretty much what it is. So life goes pretty fast when you're here. The 6 months, you can hardly feel your contract. Like, to be fair with you, you only start feeling your contract like 1 month before you leave. And I think the reason you start feeling your contract as well is because maybe you are very homesick, or probably you're not having such a great time on board. I don't know, maybe you're just looking forward to going home. Then you're like, oh shit. But most of the time goes so quickly. For me, that is. For some people, they might differ, but for me, my contracts go pretty much fast. I hardly feel the 6 months or the 9 months that I did. I started feeling it, I think 2 months or a month ago, because I started having to prepare myself, like packing, trying to figure out if should I continue shopping or stop shopping, because I've shopped a lot and I've got a lot of stuff. And if I got like a lot of stuff, so that's when I was like, whoa, hold up, girl. But pretty much I did not feel my 9 months. 9 months was amazing. In between, we changed a lot in terms of management, which was also different, but at the same time flexible and adaptable. And it's always good because you learn different things from different people, and different people manage differently, and people have different ways of doing things. That's just regarding work itself. This hair is something else. So another most common asked question is, how many months do you do within your contract? So a contract, I'm gonna speak in reference of the shops, okay? So within the shops we do 6 months, and that's how long the contract is. Normally you'll get a contract when you are home that is 6 months for you to work within the shops. Now the question is, when you come on board, will you be working directly, let's say as a beauty specialist or as a watch specialist? If it's your first contract, even if it's your second contract, it's not necessarily guaranteed that you will be coming in as a specialist, because remember, 6 months that you're doing in, or as you're coming in, you're actually feeling in a position of somebody that has left. So if there's somebody who has left in a different store and not necessarily in the specialist position, then you would feel that person who has left, kind of thing. So yes, 6 months contract straight. My contract was 6 months and I decided to extend for 3 months. So I did 9 months in total. Instead of 6 months, I did 9 months. If you are going to extend, you have to say in advance before your contract can come to an end, a month earlier or 2 months earlier, so that they are able to extend you, and it gives them enough time to schedule or to fill in your post or your the person that you have to replace. So 9 months, how was it like doing 9 months? Doing 9 months was hectic. It wasn't that hectic. I didn't really feel it that much, because 6 months I was in Europe, and in Europe we had longer cruises, which was like 11-day cruises, and probably 1 sea day in every cruise, or 2 sea days. So it wasn't that hectic actually. It was like every day it was holiday, because every day we were pushing, like, it was working like 5 hours. The longest would be 5 hours or 6 hours, and some days 2 hours, and some of the nights we don't open. We finish work in the shops standard time at 11, because the shops close at 11 p.m. every single day. So we finish work at 11. And then after that, we close the doors at 11. Then after that, there'll probably be like cleaning, dusting, and all those little things before we close shop. And then we probably do the meeting at 11:15. Again, the time that is determined and how you would leave is based on the manager. So if you have a manager who doesn't like to be on the shop floor, amazing. One that doesn't like to always be on the shop floor, then you would leave pretty early. 11:30, you would be out. Okay. So every time we close at 11, every single day, doesn't matter when we open. So when we open at 3:30 till 11, we would have 1 hour break that we would have. Dinner break, and that would start probably at 5 or at 6, depending, because the crew mess where we all eat, where the crew eats, normally it opens at 5 p.m. And then the following day we have 2 sea days, which the sea days are tough. Sea days are not for me. I was not born for sea days. I was not made for sea days. Sea days are just much, very much. So basically a day at sea is when we're traveling to whatever port that we need to go to. So from Fort Lauderdale, we have 2 sea days. The 2 sea days that we normally would have is we start the sea day at 10 a.m. till 11 p.m. The shops are open at 10 a.m. till 11 p.m. That's a very long day and a lot of hours. So that means once you start at 10 a.m., we then start the meeting at 9:45, 15-minute meeting where we talk about the day, how to start the cruise off, and the events that we have for the day, and how to implement all the activations that we would have for the day. 45 minutes lunch break, and you have 2 hours and 30 minutes for your long dinner break. Then we close at 11. So on a sea day, minimum around about 9 hours to 10 hours, 11 hours or so. That's what we do on a sea day. So sea days are hectic. Like I said, hectic sea days were not meant for me. I'm not a sea day kind of person. No, it's too long for me. Then from having the 2 sea days, we then have our first port, which would be Saint Martin. That's what we have. Again, going back, I'm referring you to my itinerary. Every single ship is different in terms of the itinerary that runs. So I'm just giving you a understanding on how it really does work on a day-to-day base. Then it's St. Martin. St. Martin, that would be the next port. So in St. Martin, let's say we sail out at 6. Amazing. Love that. Sailing out at 6. 30 minutes after we sail, then we open. So it means we would open at 6:30. So you have the whole day. So that's the day where I would sleep in or go out, go to the beach, do my grocery shopping, or do whatever plans that you have for the day. That's what you would be doing on the port day. So that is in Martin. So from 6:30 we start until 11. So because it's a short night, we normally would not have any dinner breaks. So if we start anytime after 6, we normally don't have any dinner breaks, because you're doing around about 5 hours, 4 hours, not that much. And then you have your next port, St. Thomas. St. Thomas, kind of a shorter port. It's a US territory state, so therefore it's normally shorter, and we're normally there around about from 7 a.m. in the morning till 4 p.m. I think, yeah, 4 p.m. Then we open shops at 4:30. That's also a little bit of a longer day, because then you would then have 1 hour break or 45-minute break, again depending on management. And then you finish at 11, and then the following port would be, for example, Dominican Republic, that we recently just had. I think I had taken you when I went through the whole waterfalls kind of vibe, and that one is just drink some water. Don't open. Again, an interesting thing when you do work in shops, you actually don't we actually don't open once we sail at 10:30, or once we sail at 10, or we sail at 11. We are closed. So it means we don't go to work the whole day. And if you don't work on board for a whole day, that's luxury. That's good life. That's when everyone's like, oh, nice life. No, good life. No, nice life. Yes, I know. Being a shoppy, being a shoppy is different, because being a shoppy, we have a lot of free time compared to a lot of departments, which it's something that I intentionally decided to do, because I knew that my purpose of coming was a purpose of me wanting to travel, because I wanted to be outside every single time I got the opportunity to. And being a shoppy, that's exactly what happens, is that you get that time to be able to go out every single time you're in port, so you actually get to travel. So if, let's say, we're in Barcelona, if we're not having a vacation or it's not a busy day, you are able to go out in 90%, 95% of the time in the ports, you are able to go out. That is why you have to be very strategic if you want to come work on board a cruise ship, to understand what department you're coming in, because departments are very different, hours are very different. In terms of workload, it's also very different. Some people will tell you it's no fun. Some people will tell you I love it. Some people will say no. Everybody has a different experience. But that is why it is important to understand what is it that your goal is, what is it that you want, and what is it that you want to achieve from the whole experience. For me personally, before I came, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I knew that I wanted to still be within my field, and me having to have studied marketing, I knew that I still wanted to be within the marketing space, work with different brands, work with different brands, be within strategy, be within activations and implement activations, and being able to be part of campaigns and understand what's currently happening in the world. But also we really wanted to understand the sales concept of things, because I never really worked on retail. I never worked sales, and I never really understood what happens. I was always in the backside, where in an agency you come up with concepts, and you basically come up with ads, and you come up with concepts and ads and strategies of brands and different on how things should actually be implemented, but you don't really understand what happens on the ground. That was me. That's how I felt working in the industry. I was like, I want to know, I want to understand how it's like to be right there you know, be part of the salespeople and understand how it's like to talk to the customer or the guest directly about a brand. Are they understanding? Are we speaking to the right audience? Are we speaking to the right target audience, you know, kind of things. So I really wanted to have that understanding. And for me, it made a lot of sense to come into the shops because it's still within my field, it's still within my industry, and that I plan on going back into and coming up with different strategies or working differently in the industry. And I believe that I would be a better fit, or I would give better input, and I would be better, what's the word? I would capitalize, and I would understand the gap in the market. I already understand the gap in the market so much better than when I was not in the field. I was actually behind closed doors and coming up with concepts and strategies and all those kind of things. And right now, being here and being part of the sales team is absolutely different. And again, like I said, I was very hungry because I was also at a place in my career where I finished university at 20. I was 20 and I started my first job when I was 21. My first agency when I was 21. So I said to myself, fuck, okay, I experienced a lot of the fun things. I pushed. I was very career driven, very career focused. And I just wanted to travel, and I got exactly that. So for the past 5 years, that's what I've been doing, traveling, seeing the world, which is the best experience or the best education that you can get as an individual, because it's something that nobody can ever give you, or nobody can ever teach you. Like, as much as in my vlogs maybe you can see me travel, that is through my lens, that is through, you will see my perception of how I see. I'm trying to put it so you can understand what I'm trying to say. But what I'm saying is that, like, when you travel to places, when you go to these places, you have a better understanding of what the world is like. Nobody's telling you that this place is like this and that. You experience the place for itself. You experience the people. You experience the food differently. You experience the streets differently. You explore differently. You learn differently. You learn a different way of communicating. You understand people in a different level. You have a different way of listening to when people speak to you, because you have a different understanding and a different connection of when it comes to people in general. So I really enjoyed the whole travel part, and I think that's why I keep coming back after contract after contract. And again, I've enjoyed interacting and understanding brands and being able to communicate with people, with being able to do the work that I do. A lot of work that I still need to do. So I just went off topic because I'm that kind of person. I'll speak about one thing and then I direct. I'm like distracted and then I end up talking about one thing. So again, it's been amazing. Like, I've loved traveling. I've loved being in this space. I've loved every moment. I've had also the most emotional moments, because my first 2 contracts were not the easiest, because I guess I was so miserable, and I had a different goal then. And when I was given the opportunity to actually achieve that goal, I realized that's not necessarily what I wanted. And life presented a different moment for me. I go back again when I was in my first or second contract. My sister gave me one advice, and she said to me, listen, if you're doing this and you're here, enjoy the moment and just have fun. Just have fun, because this time will never come again. And I remember thinking to myself, ooh, because I was just so focused in trying to achieve what I wanted to achieve. And the minute I opened myself up, and the experience became so different. And I guess also once I changed lines, it was very different, because lines cater differently, and the culture is also different for all lines. So sometimes you necessarily at a line that doesn't fit your character or doesn't fit your goals or what you want to achieve. That can be a little bit challenging. But once you do find a place that you feel, but you also have to be open as a person in terms of wherever you are, don't have the expectations that you are there to change, because you are coming into a culture. It's a matter of you adapting into the culture that's already there. So it's either it's going to be for you or it's not going to be for you. For some people, it's not for them. For some people, it is. And again, it being for you, it can be for you at a certain period of your life, at a certain phase. You could be in a certain season and you need to be here specifically. So that's also different. So for the past 5 years, I believe it was a season for me to be here. There's a lot that I did gain. There's a lot that I did understand. I did grow as a person. I did grow a lot. And I'm pretty proud of the person that I have become. I'm pretty proud of the woman that I am becoming. I'm pretty impressed with the things and the people that I've met. I'm impressed with the life that I have lived and still living. And I'm really, really proud of the things that I have achieved for myself. It might be different for somebody else. But again, this vlog is about me telling you about my experiences. But yes, so maybe that will be a different vlog of a different day, because this girl can't stick to topics. I need to have like a whole notebook. And funny enough, I have like 3 diaries and I'm always writing stuff down, because if I don't write stuff down, I'm gonna be off track. But yes, that is basically me, life on board. Now I need to take my bags to check them in. But yeah, I honestly do enjoy, and I will probably be back for another contract. In this itinerary we had our home port, that's where we always pick up guests and drop off our guest. So that's what we call our home port. So our home port was in Florida, Fort Lauderdale, and from there we would arrive early morning at 6:30 in the morning, and we'll sail out at 3 p.m. So no, we'll sail out at 3:30. So as we sail out at 3:30, by the time that we are on port, we are closed. The shops are closed, and they'll only open 30 minutes after we sail out. So seeing in Fort Lauderdale that we are there from 6 a.m. till 3:30, we would not work on embarkation. But on embarkation, it's busy because it's the start of a new cruise. We normally have some duties that we need to do in the ship. For example, master stations, you have delivery, you have open house, you have escorts, you have a whole lot of things happening. So if you are lucky, you probably would be off, but most times we are on duty when we're in Fort Lauderdale. And vacation is the most busiest day for a lot of crew members and for the ship itself, because there's so many things happening. Start of a new cruise. And then from there we were in Fort Lauderdale, and then therefore we have 2 sea days. We sail out at 3:30. After sailing out at 3:30, we then open shops at 4 p.m. We then have our meeting at 3:30, because it is the beginning of the cruise. Therefore we have to go through demographics. We go through demographics, how the cruise is going to look like, how was last cruise, what do we need to improve on, what we can do better, what is interesting with the new cruise, and what can happen for the new cruise. All right. So food. This is my last part that I'm going to be talking about. Food is different, because as people we have different taste buds, and we have different cultures. We come from different cultures, different places, so food is tricky. We have here on Beyond, we have one mess, right? One mess. And in the mess, it's basically a mixture of food. So it caters to 67 nationalities or 76 nationalities. So you can imagine how difficult of a task or of a job for the chef that is, to have to cater to all those different cultures, because people have different types of food that they eat in general. So having to cook for all those people is a lot of work. But if you go into the mess, you'll always find the basics. You'll always find rice. You will always find bread. You will always find like burgers and hot dogs, the basics. You'll always find pizza. You'll always find pasta and mince. You'll always find veggies and fruits and cereal. Always. Those stuff are always going to be there. So necessarily for me think that the food is terrible. I think the food is great. It's just, what happens is just like when you're home, for example, when you've had fast foods for like a whole week, the following week you just can't stomach or eat anything that is fast food. Or if you've been in a hotel for a day, you get excited for the first 2-3 days, and you're like, I'm gonna eat this, I'm gonna try this, I'm gonna do this. But after a couple of days, really you just lose interest, and you're just like, no, I just want to have my own. And you just want to cook for yourself, or you want to try something different. So it's exactly like that when you're here. It's like the food does get like, to a point, it's 6 months. You are here for 6 months, so you have to be creative on how you eat your food, or the kind of dishes that you're going to mix together, like making your own sandwiches and mixing stuff together, your salads and all those kind of things. There's always a salad station as well, so you always find a salad station. So yeah, I honestly don't believe it's bad. I just think it's just a matter of you getting used to the food for 6 months. 6 months is quite long for you to have, because you can only be so creative with food for 6 months, right? Yeah, so that's the food part. There's also a gym facility, so if you want to go to the gym, you can gym. It's open 24/7, and it has the basic machines like a treadmill, for your legs, for your squats, all those basics. In a cabin. So how does the cabin, what's the setup with the cabin? The setup for the cabin, there's normally 2 people in the cabin, again referring to shops and to the specific line that I am in. So there's normally 2 people in the cabin, and you normally would be somebody from your department. And how then that is set up as well, like I say, you want to be very open. Generally, coming on board working on a cruise ship, you want to be an open person. You want to be open to a lot of things and not be that person who's going to stereotype and have assumptions. You want to just clear things out, especially if you're going to live with somebody. You want to be, for example, if you're a kind of person who likes to sleep with the lights on, then communicate that. You want to have that openness with your roommate, because it's somebody you're probably going to stay with for a couple of months, and it's somebody who you're going to go through life with, because life can be deep when you're here on board a cruise ship. It actually, and you also get vulnerable in different ways. So you really, really want to be the person that's going to be open, and the person you live with, you want to accommodate them and be considerate to them, and they will probably be considerate and open to you as well. So you also want to talk about the cleaning. For me, I'm very fussy about cleaning, so I'm like, let's talk about it, how we're going to work around it. So you want to have that communication, heads up, straight out. This is what you want to have. So talk about your cleaning arrangements, and basically visitors, and again, boys, if you are going to be having boyfriends sleep over, people come over, friends come over, parties over, all those kind of things. Although you're not allowed to have a cabin party anyway, that's not what we're talking about. But what I'm saying is that yes, your roommate will probably be the person that you will be probably the closest to. Again, with work, they do try to schedule the breaks differently. So if your roommate is on break, then you would probably be working, so that you guys can have that time where you can be by yourself and just enjoy some time alone. So there'll always be 2 people. The rooms are very small as well. The cabins are very small. I think you've seen, that is me reaching out to our cabinets. This used to be my top bunk. This used to be where I used to sleep. Now I'm on the lower bunk. I actually love sleeping on the top bunk. I think it's very comfortable. I don't like the lower bunk sometimes, because I feel like sometimes it's too flat. This I like, I enjoy. And then you have the stairs that you go up, but I enjoy the top bunk. And again, top bunk, that's where I'm at, that's where I was, and the cabin is very small, so you make the most out of it, to try and keep it clean, try to keep it tidy, so that you both can get the best out of the cabin. But honestly, for me, this girl, no complaints. My complaints, please, let's be clean. 2, noise. 3, visitors, but not really. But yeah, and having just good vibes and living with somebody who's positive, who's full of life, who's exciting, and also understanding that people are different. Sometimes I might be going through something, or sometimes I might not speak in the mornings. I'm that kind of person who just doesn't like to talk in the mornings, or the next person is the one who doesn't like to talk in the mornings, not a morning person basically, or is going through something at that specific time. So you are going to be living with someone. So basically, yeah, you know, the challenges of having a roommate and all that kind of thing. But yes, you will have a roommate, one roommate. To be fair, I've had really amazing roommates. I've had amazing people that I've shared with, and we've had disagreements there and there. Sometimes with the people that you live with, you do have disagreements. If you are matured enough, you will probably solve them and be able to get over them very quickly. But yeah, that's the whole sharing space. Hairstyle. Hello? Where are you? Oh, I'm gonna take my bags. I'm about to take my bags. It's 10:30, babe. 10 to 11. You gonna help me? It's okay. It's okay, babe. I'll just take them. I'll take one by one. What do you mean one? What? Really? Oh, I don't know. Okay. 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 Okay, so the whole hair. If you are like me, I am originally from South Africa, and so for me, I have natural hair, and natural hair is a lot of work. You have to plait when you go to bed. You have to unplait it, and if you don't, it's gonna go very flat, and to hairstyle it is gonna be a whole mission, and it's gonna take you forever. So I prefer to come with a protective hairstyling. What I have right now, this, my God, has worked for me so well. I've had this hairstyle for 9 months. For my whole contract, basically. For my whole contract. It's been the easiest to maintain. I just wake up in the morning. I just do my bun, which is 2 seconds. Literally 2 seconds. I oil my hair maybe twice a day. Twice or once a day or once every 3 days. And that's it. Pretty much that's it. Easy to maintain. I always have it in a bun, because when I have it in a bun, it's easy. Makes my life so much simple. In a bun, straight to work. It's neat as well. Also, when I'm going out, easy for me to hairstyle. So my hair started growing out. Like I said, I have natural hair. So my hair started growing out, and you can't even notice it because it just blends so well with this kind of hair. If you have braids though, or if you do braids are different, because braids are great, but after 2 months or 3 months, be ready to take them out, because the braids are your hair is gonna start coming out, because from the steam and the shower, your hair is just going to start popping out, and they're not going to look as great, and you probably have to renew the front. But these fox locks have done the ish for me. They've done it like the whole freaking contract. This has been my thing for me. The thing. They have done it. They've been the ones. They've literally done it for me. Yeah, anyway, let me take my bags, because this girl will never stop talking. Okay.
1 time out of 10, 2 times won't you be mine? We just can't pretend. This love thing can take time. 3 times then I'm in. I heard through the grapevines you missing a playtime, girl. Your beauty make 'em bow down. I need that body right now, yeah. The love will never die down. Together we can fly now. So baby, don't you ever be afraid of falling in love with me. Let me be your parachute. Parachute. 1 time out of 10, 4 times on the state lines. We fly till the end. My hands on your waistline. Sky high, feel the wind. 5 times, won't you be mine? This love thing can take time, yeah. And no matter how long it takes, I'll be right here by your side. I'll be right here by your side forever. And no matter the ups and downs, I'll be right here by your side. I'll be right here by your side forever.